Hi. The Night King got punked. He got totally owned, and he deserved better. So this is going to be all spoilers for Game of Thrones, Season 8, Episode 3, The Long Night. And I'm going to be talking while I draw. So, you saw it. You saw what I saw. Maybe you enjoyed it. I still enjoyed the episode. Let me say that right off the bat. But it could have been so much better. And I know a lot of decisions are made for budgetary reasons. You know, there's no such thing as art that is ever made under ideal conditions. Even with all the money that HBO threw at this, you still have time constraints. You still have budget constraints. You got to decide where you're going to throw your money. And it was clear that they just wanted to get rid of the Dothraki right off the bat. Just get rid of them. Because the Dothraki charge was nonsense. Made zero sense whatsoever. No general is going to just, how about my light cavalry? I'm just going to throw them away. Just get rid of them. What bold gambit was the Dothraki charge a part of? Nobody follows it up. You had a few trebuchet shots land in amongst the dead, but nothing else. There was no follow-up attack. There was no supporting attack. Traditionally, cavalries go around like a force, and then they'll chase down when an army is like retreating, and they'll like kill them in the back and stuff. This was, hey, you guys just charge at them middle of the night, and yeah, you're probably got these flaming swords, and so you're probably not gonna like trip up and break a leg. But there was no supporting action. Everybody just watched him go and watched him die. So what was the plan? Hey, Dothraki, you're just gonna go and fight and just take care of it for us? Done and dusted? Thanks, Dothraki. The Dothraki weren't like, hey, you guys wanna help out with this at all? Or they're just like, nah, we're the best. We're the best. You guys don't need to help us out. So, yeah, that was really, really dumb. No general would ever just throw away his elite cavalry, the elite of the elite, in some dumbass charge that it would accomplish nothing. You don't commit your elite cavalry until you're sure that they're going to be used to their maximum potential. Like maybe you've got, this line of fighting going on, and you need to break through that fighting to be able to get to the enemy general. Well, then you could have your cavalry, a cavalry charge could punch through a line to get at the Night King or something like that. That would make sense. But instead we got, we just want to get rid of these Dothraki. They cost a lot of money. We got to pay these actors. And we don't want to have Dany have as big of an army when she goes down to find Cersei later on. So that was just really dumb and a bad way to start. And it also betrayed the strategy that they laid out in episode 2. Episode 2 was like, we're just going to try and delay the fight. We can't beat these guys in a straight up fight. So we're just going to delay and delay and delay, and hopefully the Night King will show up in the Godswood, and then Bran will somehow kill the Night King somehow. Like, that was the plan that we got in episode 2. Now, I thought that was a pretty dumb plan. But, I mean, especially for, supposedly, like, the best humanity has to offer. But, okay, whatever. at least stick to it or have some reason to go against it. Instead, we just start off with some dumbass cavalry charge that just wipes out all your cavalry with no possibility of supporting them. You don't have archers in range. You don't have... All you have is your trebuchets, but you even stop shooting those. You don't commit your dragons. You're just standing there watching them all die. It seemed like a decision that was made by a visual director. And he's like, I want this cool shot of these lights going across a black field and then winking out. And being like, oh shit. Oh man, we're in so much trouble. The remaining alive people are like, oh my god, if they could wipe out the Dothraki, who are super amazing, that easily, we're super dead. So from a narrative perspective, it kind of works. But man, my brain was just like, no, that's just so dumb. That's just so dumb. Nobody would ever do that. Dany would never do that. She's not even the smartest, and she would never do that. She's not just going to throw away her Khalasar that she fought and died, has gotten her through all this stuff with. She's not just going to just chuck them. And why would you have your infantry set up in front of the flaming ditches? The flaming ditches were a great idea with the spikes and the stuff, and you got the flames. And then when the humans, the zombies, they make like these zombie bridges to break through them, then you could have hordes of your own infantry just sitting there back and then killing them as they come across, in a stream. I mean, I'm sure the makers of Game of Thrones saw the movie 300, where if you are able to decide where the fight's going to take place, you can set up choke points so that the vast, overwhelming numbers you're fighting don't count for a whole lot, because they can't fight you all at once. They can only fight you a little bit at a time. Yes, it's an endless stream of dead, but you only have to fight 10 at a time. That's way better than getting overrun by a tide, a crashing wave horde of dead. So put your infantry behind the flaming ditches and kill them as they stream through these little bridges that they create. And set up the fight so that there are choke points. Just an idea. But the episode was all about chucking stuff, because 8 years of building up the Night King and they just chuck him. They're just like, all that stuff we were hyping. It turns out not such a big deal. So let's talk about the Night King. I got other problems, and a lot of people have mentioned the plot armor that all the main characters had, and they really did. It was unfortunate. Really unfortunate with all the plot armor, where just no names and randos were getting butchered like they should, but then main characters were surviving things that they should not have survived. But that, I think, is fully within your rights to gripe about, but not the top of my list. The top of my list is the narrative of... Okay, strategy-wise. The Night King. He's this super powerful wizard guy. Okay? He can raise the dead. But he's got this super vulnerability to Valyrian steel and dragonglass. He just gets a touch of it. He gets a paper cut. And he explodes into ice cubes. Okay? So why, if that's your one vulnerability, otherwise he can just endlessly keep resurrecting his dead soldiers and any live people that the dead soldiers happen to kill. It's to be this grinding war of attrition that granted, wouldn't be super exciting. It'd be more like a World War I battle. But it would be really grueling and like psychologically destroying for the remaining humans, like this impending dread, and they could have this last bitch gambit to, try and get to the Night King. Anyway, that's not what they chose to do, because he's got this one weakness. So what does he do? He goes to inside Winterfell. Why? He stays back surrounded by his homies, like a couple hundred yards even away from Winterfell, and he's totally safe for the most part. I mean, they could have come up with some excuse as to why they could get to him. But why would you commit your king that he dies and everything, the whole thing's over? What was his, why couldn't he have sent like 1 million of his troops just into Winterfell, overrun it, and Bran's gonna die somewhere in that chaos? So why commit himself? The beginning, like a beginner chess strategist, doesn't just throw his king on the other side of the board and been like, I'm sure it's gonna work out all right. I'm just gonna put my king over here, and I'll bring a couple pawns with him, but I'm just gonna throw my king over to the other side. I'm sure it'll be fine. There was no reason for the Night King to commit himself, other than they wanted to kill him. So let's say that they do that, and I think it's a dumb move, but whatever. The Night King's a moron. Okay. Let's at least try and salvage this shit show at the end with Arya killing him out of nowhere. Just materializing. Never mind the fact that it doesn't make any sense story-wise. Arya has no history with the Night King. And she gets to kill everybody. She gets to kill the Freys. Whatever. She's the superstar. It's all about Arya, apparently. And I love Arya. Big fan. But her killing the Night King had no payoff. No payoff for the whole story. It was Jon. Jon's interaction was with the Night King. So why wasn't he involved in the Night King's death? Who knows? Because it subverted expectations. Okay. How satisfying is that of a payoff? But anyway, I had this idea for the finale. So, because Bran has absolutely nothing to do in the episode, he wargs into some ravens. Great. Hooray, Bran. You warged into some ravens. What did that get you? Nothing. What information did you gather with these ravens? That the dead were attacking? Does he even bother to share that with anybody? No, because that would have been pointless. Everybody knows. Thanks, Bran. Yep, we're kind of aware of that. So what does Bran do in the episode? Sit in a chair and stand as a target. As a kind of a decoy, but not really. But it ends up being a sort of a decoy, but only happenstance. The plan wasn't, and then Arya's going to ninja out of nowhere and kill him. Even though she didn't have to use a dagger, she could have used like a broadhead arrow and shot him from like 100 yards away. But anyway. So my idea is this. And it's not perfect, of course, but I'm trying to salvage this thing. So Bran is warging into all kinds of stuff at the beginning of the fight. He's warging into eagles and, I don't know, shadow cats or whatever. And they're attacking the Night King and his the White Walkers. And the White Walkers are having to fight off all these animals and things. But they're killing them off. So, there's some conflict there. But then Bran steps up his powers a little bit. And he wargs into a White Walker. And he wargs and he fights him. And he starts killing White Walkers. Other White Walkers. And then as soon as that one dies, he wargs into another one. And so the Night King can't just send his mindless droopy hordes or his White Walkers towards to kill Bran, because Bran is too strong. He's just too powerful of a wizard to, have him send his minions. So he actually has to go himself, because all his minions are mindless and they're all vulnerable to Bran and his warging. So he actually does have to go himself. And then that's why the Night King exposes himself. And that's why the humans are able to kill him. Not just because why? Why does he go himself? Just to be dumb. Just to expose himself. We could have got this cool scene of Bran, warging into this thing, into that thing, and working into multiple things at once. And going, Super Saiyan Bran. But instead, he's just a block of wood, sitting there. Just doing nothing. Just standing as a target. Okay. It's not interesting. You're not showing, it's not a payoff for Bran's abilities. Because what does he have to do now? He's got nothing. He's got nothing to do. It wasn't a satisfying conclusion to his story. So yeah, hopefully that would have been a better ending. And Jon would have been involved too. So let's say he exposes himself because he's got to kill Bran, right? Because he's the memory of the world or whatever. So he finally exposes himself. And then Jon's there. Jon jumps down off the dragon, fights mano a mano with the White Walkers, and Bran's still warging into, Jon jumps down, starts hanging with the Night King. So we got that payoff of that, head-to-head battle that we've wanted to see for years now. Meanwhile, Bran is warging into different White Walkers, killing off those guys, still fighting those guys. And then, but the Night King is still too strong, right? So he's getting an advantage on Jon, and just as about he's killed Jon, then Arya pops out of nowhere, or we get a scene of her, fighting to get to that area. It's a little bit Deus Ex Machina, where just all of a sudden she's just super Arya, super ninja killer that can kill anybody at any time, and yay. It's just a little too easy. So, yeah, that's my idea for the Saving Episode 3, Season 8, Game of Thrones. But tell me what you think. Did it have bad ideas, dumb ideas? Did it inspire your own ideas? I don't know. I didn't do much drawing on this, but I had to get some thoughts out. So, hope you have a great day. I still love Game of Thrones. I'm totally on board. I want it to be better. That's my thing. So anyway, take care.